Hello and welcome again to another episode of Friendships That Flourish, the podcast where we dive into the intricacies of building and nurturing meaningful connections. Join us as we explore the dynamics of friendship, sharing inspiring stories, and uncovering actionable tips for fostering deeper, more fulfilling friendships. Today, I am your host, Regina Nicole, your host and your friend. And today on the couch for this episode, we have, I like to call her Ladybug, as our guest. And today we're discussing the evolution of friendship in a digital age. So Ladybug is going to school us on all things friendships, digital age, and give us, some feedback on how friendship life is going for her. Welcome to the podcast, Ladybug.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm in here finally.
Right. I'm excited that you agreed to do this.
Yes.
Because you would be like, nope, I don't want to overcommit.
It was a must. It was a must today. Make an episode.
I appreciate you. So let's just jump right into it. The first question that I usually throw out is to my guests is what does it mean to you to have a friendship that is flourishing?
To me, a friendship that's flourishing is like you and your friend making an active effort to keep the friendship afloat. Like leaving space, not trauma dumping,
right?
But leaving space for you guys to come with your problems, or not even problems, but just it's an experience. Go out, have fun dates. Call each other up. And speaking from my experience, I have a lot of like long distance friendships. So it's really being on FaceTime whenever, being on the phone, or if we're in the same city, it's a must that we get together. Like I just went out with my best friend yesterday at River and Post, and it was nice to catch up. I feel like it doesn't take a lot.
Nice. You said something about, let's see if I remember. You just mentioned something. Now I don't forgot it. But no, I think that's good what you share. Like you said, having fun and being able to connect and share both the good, the bad, the ugly. So I like that. I had another guest who talks about friendships that are flourishing, how having friendships that are solid.
Yes.
And she shared what that looks like. I always tell people about like having grace is going to be something that helps a friendship flourish, because there may be seasons where I'm going through a challenge, you're going through a challenge, and it doesn't look like we can do anything to help each other, but we're there together. So it makes it more worth it. I remember a friend and I, we both were experiencing death at the same time. Me and her, and I remember she said to me probably the first night after all of the hoopla, and she's like, I can't expect for you to be here for me. And I was like, yes, you can. And she's like, but I was coming off of like losing 3 people. And she's like, your 3 people to my 1, that's still a lot. And I was like, we're going to do this together. And so to your point, like being able to do this good, bad, or ugly, that is very helpful. So,
yeah, it's holding each other accountable and not being selfish, like not putting the other person not necessarily first, but if you're going through something, I don't expect you to be all me. Like I'm holding space for you, like it's a mutual relationship. It's not parasitic. It's not.
Come on.
It's not us getting mad at each other because one person is going through it. Oh, you haven't talked to me, or and this is because I feel like my tight friendships, we can go not a year, but months without talking because of busy day-to-day life, school, work, but at the end of the day, if we call each other, we're there. We text each other, we're there. Yeah.
No, that's good. I always talk about expectations and how we create expectations in our mind that we haven't discussed or shared with the other person, with the group of friends, and so that's important. So thank you for sharing it. That's super important. And it's good to hear you say that, because of being in a different generation than me, how sometimes there's this misconception that friendship doesn't matter when it absolutely does.
It does.
So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, of course.
So again, your topic is like the evolution of friendship in a digital age. So let's jump into what does being in a digital age for yourself, what is like the top ways of communicating with your friends?
The top ways of communicating currently
Mm-hmm.
with my friends are one, texting our phone
Okay.
numbers, but everyone uses social media
Mm-hmm.
platforms, and I feel I don't have Facebook. I don't,
Okay.
but I do have Instagram and
Well,
Twitter.
wait a
Well,
minute. You don't
X.
have a personal Facebook,
Off
but
the
you on
record, look,
Facebook.
off
You have
off
an
the
Amy.
record, I don't have Facebook, but my mom's Facebook.
Correct, because you definitely manage your Facebook.
I manage my mom's Facebook, so I'm up to date
On all the
and
tea.
on all the tea, like on all the tea. But I don't communicate with my friends on there.
Right,
But
right.
I'm able to. Some things my mom don't see on her feed because I'm already done
You all over
Look,
it.
I'm all over it. I done scrolled down already. But we talk on Instagram. Me and Chastity talk on Snapchat.
Okay.
Sometimes we have a whole streak on Snapchat. But most of the time it's Instagram.
Okay.
But like the downsides of Instagram, I feel like Instagram has really negatively affected people's relationships and
Really?
friendships
How so?
for my age, because I
Okay.
feel like, and especially after Instagram to me used to be a place where you just get on there and post whatever, or you could post a picture of your cup, like, or post a picture of the TV, just doing anything. But I feel like now it's become a museum. Like, people are just
They got a whole gallery.
They got a whole gallery and posting for an image,
Yeah.
trying to keep up with the norm. So I've kind of scaled back from Instagram. Like, I've even kind of made it very personal because I don't like the fact that, like, I'm a little bothered when people that I used to talk to when we were close like this, now it has resorted to you just watching me every
Right,
day
and
and
y'all
we
don't talk. Yeah.
And it's weird.
That's a little creepy.
And Instagram has added the liking the story feature. Liking the story is not friendship. That is not friendship. Like, and it's also, I was just telling my best friend yesterday, I was like, most people on Instagram, they're not in your day-to-day life. So I don't want to build attachments or build relationships and friendships through the phone. If we're not seeing each other in person, then I'm not going to, pursue it. Like, I don't want to just be constantly on Instagram texting back and forth. But it has affected friendships simply because of that and the miscommunication period. Like, you're just watching me, I'm just watching you. We don't talk. That allows for a lot of room for thoughts to come.
It's interesting that you talk about the evolution a little bit of Instagram because, and I never saw it as like the museum piece, right? But it's interesting that you mentioned that because I now like social media, like think about, so you don't know this, but Facebook was only for college students. You had to have a college email to register. And I know this because I went to state college. So I couldn't even get on Facebook initially because my college wasn't a part of like that thing, right? For a minute. So then I had access to one of my cousins who went to West Georgia. She went to West Georgia. She's the one who told me, she's also the one that set me up with an email many moons ago, but whatever, when we used to have to use a dial-up internet. So she told me about, hey, you know about Facebook? It's for college students. I'm like, no. I'm like, well, my school isn't registered on there, so I had to use hers. And I think a few months later, my school was on there. So then I started using hers. And so it's interesting because Facebook now, my mom has a Facebook. She's not as active, but when she is active, she's like liking everything from 3 months ago. I'm like, oh gosh. So it's interesting how you talk about Instagram being this place of like, it's an art gallery. So basically you can come and see all of my stuff that I've posted and make an assumption of who you think I am. And because of that, then you're like, oh, I like these. She take good pictures. She traveled a lot, or whatever your assumptions are. And so now you're like, oh, let's be friends. So that's interesting. I was going to ask you, have you ever made a friend on social media that you was able to meet in person? And then I'll tell you my story.
Let's see. None from Instagram, but what's really funny is before me and Chastity were friends, Snapchat.
Okay.
And this was when Snapchat had the numbers. Like if your story was long, it was all the way in the thousands. This was about 7th or 8th grade. And I think I posted something one day because I used to be really, really active. And I had never seen Chassie. I heard of her, but I'd never seen her. And one day she commented, and I can't remember what it was, but she used my name in the sentence. And my name was spelled wrong. And I was like, oh, thank you. But my name, you know me. It's like, oh, thank you. But my name is actually
this.
Right. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, you know.
Embarrassed.
And immediately we started talking.
What was she missing? The eye?
I think she was, missing some eyes.
I was about to say, it's always the eye.
It's always
put people in the chokehold.
Look, like that is not how you spell my name. But anyways, and then I think that next week in school is when we got together, and that she's actually like one of the only friends that I probably have met through social media because all of the other ones were like in school.
So I met a young lady. I have a friend who I think she was helping people like build websites and blogs.
Yeah.
And so this was one of her clients. And so at the time, this particular friend, we weren't really friends, but I used to follow her blogs. And so then I saw that she would plug this person. And so then I would follow the other young lady where she would do like blogs, where she would do like music reviews, albums, and that type of thing. And so fast forward, this young lady, I would follow her, make comments, we would interact. And some kind of way she knew that we were both from Jacksonville. She might have still been living here at the time. She eventually relocated. But eventually I got to meet her in person because her dad passed away, I believe it was. And she knew I liked to read. And so she was like, my dad has all of these books, come over, blah, blah, blah. And that was, I think that was the first time I had met her in person. And legit, we are like, we text here and there, but like she got married, she had a baby, all of these things, and she made me a part of that community. Like when she got married, it was during COVID, and it was like a small group of us that she allowed to kind of follow her that day through Snapchat. And I don't post a lot on Snapchat, hardly ever, but I do watch the stories, and especially with this young lady. And so now we're friends on Instagram and Facebook, but she uses Snapchat a lot. So I could tell you what's happening with her based off of her sharing. But I really felt like we were like super close to the point to where like now that she has a kid, I'm like, hey, I'm sending something for the baby. Tell him his auntie sent this for him. And she and I feel like we're close. Like I feel like we know each other. And even in moments when I'm like sending her a message to encourage her and that type of thing. So that's pretty interesting because I remember being younger when it's like, don't talk to strangers. And then here we are living in a digital age where you connect with people through the internet that by chance you do meet them in person and you end up being lifelong friends with them. Like these people end up being your children's godparents or their aunts, or, just all of these things where they're like, we're business partners and stuff. So that's interesting. It was something else you said about people watching like your stories and stuff, but it's like, this is not a full scope of who I am.
And they get to make assumptions.
Yeah. It's interesting too because social media, whatever its initial intention was, right, to kind of help bridge the gap of us like proximity of living space or whatever, it's interesting how now it's used as marketing and promoting and it's for business and it's just all of these things where you have to do like this deep dive in order to really gauge people. But we're really out here living on the edge because I could post whatever on social media, but I could be a serial killer.
You could. And everybody wants to be a content creator.
Yeah.
It's like you're ruining it. You're ruining that.
Well, it is because it has changed. So Snapchat again, I'm on Snapchat, but I use it to catch up with some
folks.
For
your friends.
Yeah, but I noticed that your generation of digital navigators, you guys use Snapchat more than Instagram now. wherein like Facebook was the start for me, for my generation. Like Facebook was the start. You have Twitter, right?
Yes, I do.
So I have Twitter. I don't always post. I'm not as active as I used to be, but I will go on there periodically to kind of like scroll and update and share. And so that's one of the things that, I like about it as well. Cause it also it creates this I want to say placebo. It creates this thing in your mind where it makes you feel like you're close to people, which is why when we are in spaces with quote unquote celebrities, we're like, oh my gosh, I know her because I follow her. I can
Her.
tell you how many kids she have, which could also be scary when you have these hit or miss spaces when people are like showing up to where they think you are.
Yeah.
So, all right. So do you think we kind of touched on, like, let's talk about maybe the challenges that social media navigating like this digital space it can cause in friendship. So as you think of your answer, for me it comes to mind what comes to mind is like, let's say you and I have a conflict, right?
That's where I was going.
Yeah, and I go to social media to post. One or two things happen. I'm either posting a subliminal message, right?
Yep.
Without tagging you, or I'm tagging you. And so it's like now here it is where we can post on social media, we can tag people, we can share, we screenshot everything, we screen record everything. But then in person, it's a different energy.
Dead silence. Like, what? Where do they do that at? Yeah, I agree. The subliminal posts, if we have a conflict, as my friend, I be thinking people think of me as their friend. Like, I feel like I keep it really genuine, but on that side, it doesn't be that. Like, and that's speaking from experience because it's happened to me so many times where I thought that me and a person were friends, but then something so minor comes up, or just kind of, I don't like one-sidedness. And
Right.
once I notice that it's one-sided, then I'm kind of like, I scope the scenery out to see, I maybe try a little, but if I see that it really is one-sided, then it's kind of going to be over. But yeah, the subliminal messages, I feel like if we're grown enough, then we can talk about it.
Right.
And all of like my friends, we don't really have conflicts. Some of us have, but it's like it hasn't when the friendship hasn't lasted because most people get to hold an assumption about you, or the conflict doesn't resolve because they don't want to communicate about it. They rather go on social media, like you said, and make subliminal messages, or just not even be open to accountability and to just talking about it. Like, if we're friends and if you say we're as close as we are, then we should be able to talk about it.
Yeah. So with the challenges, if it's, let's say someone posts something, do you then go back to like, hey, like we need to chat? Like, I know I saw what you posted. We need to talk about this face to face. Or are you kind of like, once they go and post something on social media, I like, you got it and I'm out.
Hey, a little bit of favoritism. I feel like with some friends,
Yeah.
I'm a slide up, and I'm going to be like, what's wrong? If I feel attacked, because if I don't, I'm gonna tap right through it, and that's
Yes.
that's just gonna be it. If I feel like I'm in the wrong, or if I feel like I just want to know what they're talking about, yes, I'll slide up. I'll be like, hey, what's wrong? I'll call them even.
Right.
But others,
You like, you got it.
you got it. It's a done deal because I know what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
No
Especially,
accountability.
yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm gonna be the villain, and I've accepted that role.
Yeah. So, okay, so we talked about like challenges. Are there any like, so let me see. I have had situations where people are like, I don't post on social media. I'm not that active. And then I look up and I'm like, you post everything. Like, literally a day ago, I saw someone who was a part of my friend circle, and I'm like, oh, they sliding. I I don't have a problem with the
With it,
slide.
yeah.
My challenge is like this person is like, "Woe is me," and y'all exclude me, and all of these different things. And I'm like, so when it comes to this circle, you are like, "Woe is me," but then you have these other circles where you like standing on the tabletop, swinging your towel around, having fun. And so I'm like, well, what's that about? Because what happens is we forget that everything is on social media.
Media.
So once it's out there, you don't anticipate me seeing it, which I think is what happens. Like, you don't anticipate me seeing this because I'm not scrolling or I'm not going to look for it. Well, I opened my phone yesterday
there.
and boom, I'm like, oh, this person hanging out. Good for, like, we love that. What you say? We love to
that.
see it.
We love to see it. We love that for them.
And so I'm like, Now I will tell you, probably a year or two ago, maybe 2 years ago, I probably would have been upset about it. Now I'm like, live your best life.
Sis.
Because, if this is what it's going to resort to. I will say the good parts of social media is like when I've lived away from family or when I've had family relocate to wherever, it has kept us connected because that was the only way. Like, there's no way that I could go see a cousin who at one point lived in Korea. And I can't say I couldn't go see her, but I couldn't see her as often, right?
Yeah.
So being able to use Zoom or Google Meet or Facebook Messenger or what have you was a really good key point, especially in moments where she had children and I couldn't be there. I could still feel connected to her. And then let's see, I have friends locally too that we talk on video. Like, that is our
And group
soul.
chats.
Yeah. And so I did tell somebody the other day, I was like, now if one more person add me to a group chat, I am in these so many group chats. However, the group chats really do help with like creating a community, kind of like we haven't been to brunch, but we can go to, like, this is like brunch chat in the group chat.
Yes.
So that is also like something that I enjoy too. I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, I gotta get my sister an iPhone because I'm like, me and Ladybug have a group, have a text message, or I'm like, but my sister, she got to go home, get her tablet. I'm like,
go home, get her tablet. We have to Google Meet her. Right. Like,
and she still calls it FaceTime. I'm like, I don't have that app.
She texts me and be like, FT me, FaceTime me. And I'm like, okay, are you home and do I FaceTime your tablet, or are you out?
Right.
And are you out and you're telling me to meet you? Like, you need to text me, meet me. Like,
look, GM, Google Meet.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like, especially going back to my trauma dumping point.
Yeah.
If I see you on social media, because I have a lot of friends and we hold each other in categories, and not in a bad way, but some friends that you're going to be close and tight with, other friends, it's not saying that it's not like that, but
I mean, it's a different level.
Yeah, it's a different level. So I don't want to be the trauma dumping friend, because if
tell us about trauma dumping. Tell me what you mean.
I feel like it's a friend that, well, to be on the other side of it,
right?
Like the trauma dumping part, it's a friend that I see you on social media and you're hanging out, you're having the time of your life with whoever, and that's fine. But then you get to me and it's a sob story. It's a woe is me. It's always about your problems and never any. And not saying that as a friend we can't talk about that, but it's never
like, where's the conversation about you going hanging out yesterday?
That's what I'm saying. Why are you now down talking the friends that you were just hanging? Oh, well, it's not the same.
Do you think he or she is doing this because of who they think you are, like how they view you?
Maybe they look at me as the advice friend, or maybe they look at me as
that too,
a person that holds room for that. Yeah. But why can't you do that with your friends that you hang out with? My friends that I hang out with, you think I'm gonna be their friend and we can't have serious conversations,
right?
And we can't have a time where we nag and complain,
right? Together,
like
you venting.
We need venting sessions. That's another
top
thing.
Tier.
They're top tier. Venting sessions are top tier. But the friends that just take on and just trauma dump on you, like. And then it don't be mutual.
Right.
When it's time for you to talk about something, oh,
They quickly change
they
it to
quickly
them.
changed it back to them. Like,
I think that's easy to happen. To your point about the trauma dumping. So I know people like that as well. And I think that so some of it has been maybe me. Me meaning I haven't shared with them for whatever my reasons are, right? And so it's a lot to have people who trauma dump your coin your word or phrase via text message. That is very exhausting and overwhelming for me. And that is probably the easiest way to get me to not respond. Like to send me a text message from one corner to the next, I'm like, oh my gosh. And not that it's not the same, I guess, verbally, but for me to see a text message that is like a lot and then I have to unpack it, I'm like, I shut down.
and then most of the time it's on a day, and not saying that that's every day, but it's on a day where you are booked and busy, and it's a loaded day and emotionally heavy for you, and then they haven't. Like, I'm not saying that I would be more accepting if you was to text and be like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Right.
and then go
Hey, how
into
you
it,
doing? But
because I'm
boom.
still gonna be like, I'm gonna roll my eyes and I might not even respond.
Right.
But like, where is the room reserved for me when it comes to this trauma dumping through a text? I'm going to block you. Not for real.
Wait a minute, you gotta block them. Do you unblock them at some point?
No. I'm not going to do it.
I need to do that. No, seriously.
You're going on the list of don't do that to me. Like,
yeah. Through
there's
text
a time
message, it's
and
a
a
lot.
place, and not saying that.
So how do you establish that with your friends? Like, if you like Genesis, Chastity, how do you establish when and where? And you mentioned creating a space for that, or is it something that the more that you guys spend time with each other and get to know each other, it's kind of like something that has organically happened where they know?
I think it's something that has organically happened,
Okay.
but because I'm so used to people putting me in, like, assuming things about me or putting me in whatever category, it's like I go with the flow of where you've placed me at. Not
Right.
saying that that's a good or a bad thing, but Chastity, my best friend, it's every day, all day,
Right.
But sometimes other friends, they know they've learned me,
Right.
and I've learned them. Some of them might not even do it, like, or just be a conversation in person, but definitely not through text. And if I notice that it's a lot of that, I'm gonna find a way out of it.
Right.
I'm gonna find a way out of it, because there's enough going on in
Right.
our day-to-day lives.
This is true.
To have to deal with that all day.
So in your friend circle, are you the friend, like, where do you range in terms of like being out and being social with them, or preferring to only text, FaceTime, or talk on the phone if that's
I'm
a
the
thing?
friend that
Or like just talk through, so like sending, like how you and I will be texting in the text, and then we also are like on Instagram sending each other stuff in the inbox.
Yeah. I feel like I'm that friend that has multiple friend groups.
Okay.
So the out and about, I have friends at college that I go out. My I would say my home friends, they're either at college or at work here, but most of the time, who I'm going out with is who I'm around for that point in time. Like,
Okay.
my friend groups have never really been meshed. And I kind of like it that way, because then I don't want to have to be the buffer. I don't want to have to make everyone feel comfortable, because I'm going to do that. And it's like, we're all supposed to be out having a good time. And also, I want people to be comfortable, but you have to, let's all be on one accord. But everyone is not thinking like that. Most people are
very churchy.
Look, most people are thinking about themselves in the moment.
Yeah. Yes. So I think about like so like there are friends that I'm in group chats with, right? And I think about like on Sundays, we probably the least bit chatty in the chat, which is good for us because we're like working, business, family, children, this, that, whatever. And then there are moments like for me, there are moments where so much has happened in the chat and I'm so behind that I just go through and read it and I just heart stuff. I don't have time, like because I'm 3 hours late. I'm only here to be supportive at this point. I'm
But I
like,
bet you they don't feel no type of way
no, no,
that
no.
you've been missing all day.
No, because
Yeah.
they definitely understand. Like every once in a while, they're like, "You need a new job because your job's too demanding, and we're not used to this." Because in one of my group friends chats, I am usually the friend who can video with everybody during the day
Mm-hmm.
because my job is so flexible. So I'm multitasking. They calling, yada yada yada. In another friend group, we don't have a group chat; it's a text chat.
Mm-hmm.
And so the text chat is more like we drop in every once in a while type deal or whatever. And then again, like me, you, and Peaches have a text thread, and then you and I mean, I definitely have chats within social media. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not checking those today.
Yeah.
I'll check them another time. But again, like I think the good and the bad or the areas of opportunity as well as like areas that are like super good about the social media. It does definitely change dynamics though, because I see it as like, okay, for me, it is enough, right? Wherein for some people, some of my friends, it's like, we've only talked on video when I'm gonna see you in person. And I'm like, yo, I am so busy. Like, I don't have like, my next available date is like the doctor's office 2 months from now, right? And so I was mentioning to someone recently, I'm like, I have a friend where we do car conversations. So we'll text throughout the week, but then on her drive to work, like once or twice throughout the week, once or twice a week, we try to do like a call. And most of the time, because of work for me, I'm like, I miss her call. So then I started doing audio messages
Yes.
through text to be like, let me chime in and check in with her. What's your preferred way of connecting?
My preferred way of connecting has been text.
Text, okay.
Text and call. We call each other all day, every day.
You and I?
Yeah, you
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
call
We
each other all day,
FaceTime.
every
Yeah,
day.
for sure.
We FaceTime. But yeah, it's really been FaceTime and text.
Okay.
Not too much Instagram because life is lifing. Everyone
Yeah.
is either busy working,
I don't be having time to
busy
post.
look, busy having a job. Like it's no time to it don't be no time for the social media apps during the day. Like maybe on your break or something.
Yeah.
Or at nighttime to wind down. But even then,
It's
like
become daunting for me. And it's not supposed to be. And I think that is what, yeah, that's kind of like a thing for me. I'm like, it's a bit daunting to have to kind of follow sometimes. I noticed you didn't mention talking on the phone. What is the difference between video and talking on the phone? Is it not the same?
I feel like FaceTime is for your people who you talk to every day, all day.
Okay.
You know, like where even though they working, you're gonna pick up a call because yes, they can decline me, but they gonna call me back because you're gonna go decline somebody in a minute, no explanation. I'm like, oh my god, this is what we're doing now.
No,
but I know you're gonna call me back
Wait.
because I'm like, oh, she's in a meeting or she's driving, but literally FaceTime.
Why you telling my business?
Decline.
Don't hold your thought. So I was off yesterday, right? So I'm sitting in my bed with my laptop working, but what was I doing? I think I was on a call. I was on a phone call with someone. And so Diamond calls me and she and I talk on video. I didn't answer. So it had gone by, like at this point, I think it was like 40 minutes. And at the 45-minute mark, I think I had just hung up, and then she calls back. And she's like, don't play with me. And I'm like, I just finished the call. She was like, first of all, you could have sent a message 40 minutes ago that said, I'm on a call, we'll call you right back. And so I just let her fuss and I just looked.
And let's not play phone tag and don't let me check your location.
Okay, so that's the other thing.
That's the other thing. We're want to check each other's locations. But see, that's what the people that's like this.
Yeah.
That's tight.
I had
Phone
to not
calls.
give so I was sharing my location with a friend. It didn't end well. And so another friend was like, don't do that. She was like, because clearly this person kind of took the location. And I was like, I thought it was, because it was that particular person travels a lot. And I'm like, you need somebody so we can know what's going on.
Yeah, and they travel a lot and then looking at your location. Looking at your location all day, every day.
Needless to say that we don't share locations anymore.
Great, because the whole turn your location off thing.
Well, they wasn't turning it off.
No, you had to turn it off so they won't see it. I'm like, hello, we're still here. Like,
it was a lot of
friendships in a digital age. Literally, like it's changed so much. But I don't really talk on audio. Like Peaches, she'll call me. Literally, we meet and we FaceTime. We'll call like during the day if she's driving or something. Mm-hmm. But even her, she's like, she calls you, and if you don't pick up, she's gonna text you, FaceTime me, or if you call her back on audio, call right back. Yeah, she's gonna call right back. Or if you call her on audio, she's gonna be like, you need to video me. Like, what's the thing? Why do we need to see each other? It's like when you at somebody's house,
more connected though.
Or you're at your family house, or y'all stand at night, and then you go in their room and you trying to talk in this late night. You cut the light on. They're like, cut the light off. Cut the light off. I'm still in here. You don't need to see me talk. I just did that with her the other day. I think around her birthday, she was like, cut my light off. What are you doing? I'm like, I want to see it. It makes it better.
I didn't think about it like that, but it does. I think I asked you the question, but now I'm like, yes, when I'm on video with my friends or family or whatever, it does. Even like the other day, I was on FaceTime audio with Lolita, but because I see her picture, it didn't feel different. It felt like we were on video, which means she probably was, but we talked for 2 hours. Yeah. First of all, she and I will get on the phone, but I got 2 questions, and then it's like 45 minutes later. But we talked for 2 hours. That always happens. But the fact that I could see her picture and I could it felt like I was sitting in the living room or laying across the bed talking to her. So you're right. Like the over the phone it makes you feel further apart from the person as opposed to video.
Because it's like you're right.
Yeah, it's like I'm right there in your face.
Literally. But I feel like the hard truth is that you really do have to accept either work on the friendship or accept your place in a friendship, because high maintenance friends and low maintenance friends, you're placing categories to whether y'all are going to text only, whether you're going to audio call only.
Does that differentiate?
Or if you're going to FaceTime. But FaceTime people, they get the FaceTime audio and text. Let's be honest.
So are you saying that based off of how we communicate, this also says like where you rank in a
Yes.
Really?
I'm telling you, it really does. Why are we texting out? Why are me and you texting all day? Like, girl, if you don't call, don't text me something that you could have just FaceTime me very quickly and said.
Wait, do you remember like sometimes I'm like when you're back in Tallahassee
sleep
school,
question mark,
I'll text you and be like, are you asleep? Or I may say, can you talk? And you'll FaceTime and be like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I want to make sure you're not busy.
Look, don't get me started on the FaceTime voicemails that you leave.
You hate those.
I hate those. But
so this is good.
Call me. Well, but I feel like, and then people don't feel like they don't know, right? But I feel like we're at a level where
okay, you and I FaceTime, we talk. First of all, we talk every day, and our method preferred is text. It's FaceTime. Am I to understand that a person that I don't necessarily FaceTime with, let's say we text only, does that mean that you rank higher than them to a degree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I rank higher than someone that you only text. Because my question,
I got a question. What about a person
about
a person that you communicate with through email?
Why y'all even communicate?
Okay.
Email, like what?
All right. Okay, I mean,
Let's come out of our rabbit hole.
right. Okay. So this has been really good, like understanding the evolution of friendship in a digital age. Was very helpful for me because again, you're enlightening me of some things that I hadn't considered or I didn't even know was a thing. Like it's something, right? So this has been really good. I definitely need to have you to come back so we can do a part 2.
Please, because why did we amp up near the end?
I know. So I like to do what is called a friendship quote of the day. And so I always do the quote and then I'll have you kind of share what you think that means to you. And then we'll go to the next segment. All right. All right. So the quote of the day says, "A friend is a gift you give yourself." What does that mean to you?
To me, that quote means that whatever space that you're in or how you view yourself is going to decide how you choose your friends.
That's good.
Because if you don't view yourself, and not saying that this is everybody, but if you don't view yourself at a high self-esteem level, you're not going to want constructive criticism friends. You're probably going to want yes men. But I don't want a yes man friend, because if it's just yes all the time, like I have a friend that we'll just debate. Like she would just debate me on a regular day, no argument or nothing. We just going back and forth at it, like. But yeah, it is a gift that you give yourself, and hopefully it will be a good gift, a nice gift.
You have an old soul. I like that though. I didn't think of that, but it does make sense. Like if you're gifting yourself, and a lot of times they tell you the way that you treat yourself is how you then treat the other people in the world. And so selecting and nurturing friendships that is healthy, that's holding each other accountable and making sure that all parties are being served is definitely what you see in return in friendship.
Yes.
And when you see things go left, I think I would add to that gift. It's like sometimes it's kind of like buying something off clearance. You bought the dress with a hole in it. They gave you $5 off the dress. And so that hole may cause a challenge. You may have to sew it. And sewing it up may mean that in a friendship, you may have to train or redirect the person, but being willing to invest in that, just like you were willing to take a hit on investment when you purchased it or received it. So that's good.
Like going back to my original answer, what friendship means, like it's an active effort.
Yeah.
Between you and someone else to really keep the friendship stable and afloat.
Yeah, this has been fun.
This really has been fun.
I appreciate you.
Just another one of our conversations
recorded. For sure. All right. So as we conclude Friendships That Flourish, this episode with Ladybug, we're reminded of the value of authentic connections and how they enrich our lives and fostering a sense of belonging. I want to encourage you to apply what we've learned today and what we've shared. Thank you for listening. Stay connected with us, friends, at Friends That Flourish on IG and YouTube. Stay inspired and be sure to continue to flourish in your friendships. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Friendships That Flourish, the podcast with your host, Regina Nicole. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms and be sure to listen to us on YouTube, Apple Music, and Spotify. Don't forget to email us any of your topics and questions at friendsthatflourish@gmail.com.